Good morning. It's Wednesday, December 7th, and we have gathered here today to honor water, to spend a little time recognizing and connecting with this element that is part of what we are. And I normally teach water right after earth because I'm normally teaching this in the context of the chakras, and that's the order that those go in elementally. Um, Water is associated with chakra 2, your sacral center in the hips, basically, reproductive organs. And I changed the order in this for a few different reasons, but anyway, it's made it so that we're doing water after we've done earth, air, and fire. And as I've been getting ready for this class this week and preparing the movement and the talk and the meditation and everything, um, it's been so lovely to sort of start with earth and kind of come back after a few weeks to water. So in Chinese medicine, we would call water and earth yin elements, more receptive elements, more feminine, it'll often be called elements. And we would call fire and air our yang elements. Similar concepts in Indian traditions, the sense of the masculine and the feminine. All of our movement practices are designed to balance these. And last week we were working with fire, our most yang energy, where it's all about kind of creating action and getting that moving and recognizing this very active source inside of us. And water is a yin element, but it's a little less dense than earth, right? When we need to get really grounded, when I need to get really grounded, I'm doing a lot of earth practices and just getting, really solid again. This water element is connecting us with that sense of flow and juiciness, and it both possesses the receptivity and the softness of earth, but it also has an element of movement like fire and air do. Um, the questions, the questions for this week that I want you to be sitting with, contemplating, journaling about, painting about, writing a song about, just taking through whatever your process is right here. Is my water element satisfied and satisfying? Satisfaction is a theme that I've been bringing up for a while, but that's a huge one for me right now, and getting in touch with my water element, often associated with wants and desires and the things that move us at that like lower, more primal level, associated with our sexual organs. So you can connect those dots or make whatever kind of metaphorical or literal connections you want, or work with sexual energy in particular. But what is that about, this sort of primal drive to move, but not to like speed past or to burn through like our yang elements would do, but to move toward and then to like merge and become, immerse with. So satisfaction is a part of that equation somehow, right? We're seeking some kind of satisfaction. when that water element moves us towards something that we really want primally. So what's up with satisfaction? You know, a question that I ask a lot just in general in my practice these days is this satisfying? Is it really satisfying? Or is this just kind of a, oh, I want that, but I want it in this kind of very surface, shallow, yes, it might make me happy in the short term, but it might give me a bellyache later kind of way, versus what we know the difference is when we're satisfied. So that's where that question comes from. And I'll just speak for a moment on satisfaction. You know, I've been going through this big healing journey, and my diet has been a really big part of that. My digestive system has had a lot of issues, um, and it's been this big mystery trying to figure all that out and process. And I'm actually working with a specialist right now that I'm really getting a lot out of, and doing this process called NAET. And she's a Chinese medicine practitioner, but we're using kinesiology and tuning forks on acupressure points to test, and then we'll use the kinesiology to test, and then we use the sound, the tuning fork vibration on the acupuncture, and this whole kind of thing she does to test what I'm having, what my body is that it really needs, but is having negative reactions to. And then we use the tuning forks on the acupuncture points to retune my body so that it no longer sees whatever it is as a threat. And so what we're testing for with kinesiology, testing how my body responds to all these things, is basic sort of minerals and vitamins that everybody needs, and yet they don't. Yet often people will also have a defense response to. And what I've been noticing, I've gone through and worked with some elements that I have had negative responses to, including calcium, vitamin C, vitamin A, salt. And as I go through it, what's so interesting is I'll go back and eat whatever it is that I just did the treatment on. And you can't eat it for 25 hours after, or touch it for 25 hours after this treatment. Anyway, when I finally go back after the cleanse, I feel more satisfied. It's very interesting. It's what it seems like to me now that I'm doing this is, for the last, since probably about 2017, when these things started, I've been hungry. I've been eating like the same foods that I ate before 2017, but they weren't nourishing me. And what I was anticipating was I'm going to feel better. I'm going to learn some things about my body. I'm going to hopefully like heal some of this digestive stuff. What I wasn't anticipating was how my body would start reacting differently to food and actually be like absorbing the nutrients. Because I was responding to so many things, my system was having basically like an autoimmune response, kind of, right? That my body was in alert mode, not receptive mode. I tell you, I'm going somewhere with this, really, I am. Not in receptive mode. So it couldn't like absorb the nutrients. And anyway, it feels like I've been way more satisfied when I eat, which means that not only am I not having the negative responses that I was having before to food, I also am not then afterwards feeling really cravey. Like there's this hunger, I feel like, that's been with me that I didn't even realize was there, because it was so constant. And that feeling of like I'm fine. I'm not hungry anymore. Uh, it's really nice. It's really different. Anyway, long story short, Our bodies need to be in what you would call a yin mode, a receptive mode, a trusting mode, as was part of the theme of our meditation today, in order to receive and absorb, etc. Satisfaction is not just, do I physically have enough? I was eating great food. I kept trying to make my diet even better and better and better and trying different ones. And it was all there. It was like all in the bowl, and I was putting it in my body, and my body was still refusing and denying. So that satisfaction is not just physical, it's emotional. It has to do with our nervous system, right? It's working on such a subtle level that we also have to meet it there, especially if we're starting to have issues in our life. Like I was having issues in my stomach, or my whole body really. If we're starting to have issues in our lives of not being able to be satisfied. I mean, we live in a consumerist society, which is gonna, anytime that you turn on your device, it's probably gonna, it's like listening to what you were gonna buy. It's gonna tell you you need this. It's gonna tell you you're not satisfied. It's hard work in this world in a lot of ways to come back to that subtler, deeper trust, to make ourselves available for real satisfaction. In Buddhism, there's a concept called the hungry ghost. And it comes from this idea of there being these different levels of the afterlife, and there being a level at which it's a hungry ghost. The hungry ghosts are just, they can never be satisfied. It's like me with my food for a while. They spend their entire time chasing after and try and consume, just trying to satisfy that hunger, but it's coming from this deeper place that what we're chasing won't satisfy. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And when I catch myself in that hungry ghost mode of, I need to consume more, I need to get more, I mean, for me, I have to work more, I have to prove to somebody that I'm worthy of love, right? Notice when you're in that kind of hungry ghost mode and you're just sort of devouring and devouring and devouring, and notice if there's something that you can do to become more receptive and absorbent so that you can actually become satisfied. Okay, a few more questions. Where in my life do I need to flow more? In some ways, this is just another question that's approaching something similar, right? Where does there need to be more flow? How do I align myself with flow, right? This bigger theme of everything we're doing right now is about sort of, when we notice that we want something, I want to call in something in my life. I want more flow. I want more satisfaction. Okay. So now, what can I do with my alignment? In just like, what can I do with what I got right here, right now? How can I subtly adjust it in a way that might invite that in, you know? And so we're just going to ask that of ourselves all, throughout the day, throughout the week. And then you might want to go deeper into inquiry, as you're always invited to do, and perhaps reflect on some times in your life when you've really felt in flow. What was that like? What were the circumstances? A time in your life when you really felt not in flow. Just investigate for yourself. Be willing to look at your direct experience and explore what this means for you, and why are you getting this talk today, right? Why are we working on this? What's the synchronicity for you? And then follow that path through your practice this week. I'm going to share some wisdom from the Tao Te Ching, and I'll leave a little bit more quotes from the Tao Te Ching up when I post this that I won't have time to read. But the Tao Te Ching has some very beautiful things to say about water and our water element and how to connect with it and the power of that. Oh, and before I do that, I did just want to speak on these stacking techniques that we've been using and just kind of sum us up, catch us up. So week one, we really were working with just awareness of the sensation in the body. So just bringing consciousness to this thing that's already happening, whether you're conscious of it or not. And we practiced something called somatic labeling, which is just to go into that space and try to kind of label or name as simply as possible what you're finding. There's some tightness in my chest. There's a warm sensation in my low back, or whatever it is. Just as a way to get out of whatever state of mind we were in before and get into now this exploration of the here and the now and the somatic, right? And then the next week, we became the breath. So we played with being this internal force that's immersed, that's kind of feeling from the inside, being the breath. And then last week we were talking about then adding in this layer of, as the breath, whenever you meet, notice that there's heat, right? We're working with fire, heat, life force, life, light, just and also kind of connection, actual touch happening, right? Your breath is touching the parts of your body, right? Your awareness and your consciousness are actually also touching. And so that, where are those touch points? And how does with every touch point, go like this with your hands, like we did some last week, more heat, more life, more light is created, more energy manifested there. So that's what we played with last week. And this week, really playing with, how do I bring in this quality of fluidity, grace, smoothness, ease? How do I get in touch with the yin, my yinness, without it all just being this kind of earth, or without it all being sort of static or still. So play with all of that, and I will read to you from the Tao Te Ching, and then we're gonna chant for a few minutes and move anybody who's here and wants to stay for that. The supreme good is like water. So this is verse 8 of the Tao Te Ching. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. So now we've got 3 things that he's mentioned. What he's talking about is the supreme good, and he's comparing it to water. And then because of the ways that it's like water, it is like the Tao, and the Tao is the life force of the universe. The Tao is, in some ways, like it, instead of a deity, you have this all encompassing, all knowing source and end, like the end all be all, the everything, which is also the nothing. That's the Tao. Okay, and I'll finish this. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. I'll read a little bit from verse 15. I won't read the whole thing. This one's describing the ancient masters, the masters of the Tao, who were so profound and subtle, he says. Okay, so he says, they were alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. So play with that, right? And what does that mean? Those kind of seemingly paradoxical things there, right? Are these masters strong, or but they're moldable, right? Clear as a glass of water, right? There's that yin element, that ability to shift. I'm going to read you one more little bit, and I'll share more of this and more context for it along with this video, but this is going to be the last thing I share, okay? This is verse 78. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet, for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard. The gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore, the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart. Because he has given up helping, he is the people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. And so that's all just meant to wake up your own appreciation of water this week, your own exploration of the water element and everything that's sort of associated with it. And I, as always, invite you to share any reflections that you have. And I look forward to meeting with you next week when we're going to talk about ether, an element that I don't talk about quite as much. So I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, the week after that, we'll get together for solstice and for a sharing circle. And one thing I just wanted to throw in here, I do have the date set for next year's retreat at Pumpkin Hollow. It's going to be Memorial Day weekend. So we'll have a whole long 3-day weekend together. So go ahead and put that on your calendars, and I'll be sharing more about that and the whole plan for 2023 for us very soon. Because here we go, it's December. All right, much love to all of you. Blessings to you, and good luck as you explore your water.